This is brought to you by the George Jackson Grassroots Collective, a progressive organization in the new African independence movement that cultivates revolutionary transfer culture, liberating the minds through awareness and education, protecting and training our people while fostering unity as stated in the Code of Umoja. Welcome to the George Jackson Grassroots Collective Dialogue Session.
Greetings. My name is Abdullah Ghazi, National Chairman of the George Jackson Grassroots Collective. Today we have a special guest, and this is about integrity and manhood. Could you please announce yourself, comrade, and tell me who you are, where you come from?
Peace and blessings, peace and blessings. My name is General Shemuel aka Coach Sam, based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and it's a blessing and honor to be here. All praise to everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have a training facility when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. Could you please go into that and tell us where it's at and what it is, what it's all about?
Yeah, I'm the owner and creator of the Bancroft Urban Survival System. It's called the BUS system. We're located in Union City, Georgia. We focus a lot on rape prevention, sex trafficking defense, kidnapping and recovery, child abduction, domestic disputes. We focus also on men's training for community protection. Our foundation is based upon Muay Thai, American kickboxing, Russian military fighting, combat systema, Kesi, and we have some, basic level introductory points of Shotokan, Kyokushin, Wing Chun, and Kali. But we're heavily geared towards community protection, a ruleless based or lack of rules or no rules training, something that the average person can do who works a 9 to 5. I simplified a lot of things and based it upon the reality of what street fighting looks like and hand-to-hand combat looks like.
Yes, sir. Now let's take it back some. Let's go ahead and take it back. What influenced you to be a part of this type of activity, hand-to-hand combat and protecting the people? What's your history in this and where all this comes from?
I grew up in martial arts. So I've been doing martial arts now for about 30 plus years, almost 40 years. So being a smaller kid, I realized what worked and didn't work. Being kind of wiry, kind of skinny, having some good movement, but not having the strength to really express myself. I was always the kind of kid that I always had heart. I always wanted to be able to say certain things or do certain things, but my body just wouldn't let me do what my heart and my mind wanted to do. And I was always the kind of guy that wanted to go at the older folk, the older guys. So training in martial arts gave me or helped to, I would say, nurture my confidence and help to nurture my spirit. And as I evolved and as I grew, we began to get into other lines of work as it became to executive protection and bodyguarding. I've been an executive protector and bodyguard for the last 20 plus years, working in the adult industry for a little while, now doing recovery and extractions, putting together tactical teams, heading security at the bank establishment now. A lot of things have, led me to this point, but all of the things that I've been exposed to helped me to develop what needed to be done and formulate a system that was going to help elevate those and teach those how to protect themselves and develop the confidence and the skills to do so.
Yes, sir. Taking it back some more. Mm-hmm. Was you in any competitions growing up, like tournaments? And can you please tell me in detail what art did you start off with? I used to compete as well when I was younger, and the highest I went was a showdown black belt in martial arts. And I participated in a lot of sparring sessions and competition. Could you tell me more about that in your early age?
Yeah. I started out with kickboxing. Excuse me, I started Taekwondo. Did that for a little while, but then proceeded into kickboxing. And I always skip Taekwondo. Unfortunately, there's no disrespect to Taekwondo, but
Right.
kickboxing was really what I consider my foundation. That's what taught me how to fight. And if you remember the 80s and the early 90s, American kickboxing was, one of the highest striking arts that you could find. Then I progressed into Muay Thai to develop the skills to use the, additional limbs. Got into bare knuckle competitions, underground fighting. Even ran my own fight league out of Orangeburg, South Carolina. And so that was kind of a cool thing to do because you would get a lot of interesting individuals coming out there betting and bidding on certain things, and it was a really good environment. This was before MMA became mainstream, so a lot of things were being done underground, and that's really where you get to test your skills at, because it wasn't the rule nuances. You were trying to make a quick check and a quick come up, didn't always know who you're going to be fighting those nights, but it was a good experience. I think a lot of guys from my era they participated in those kind of tournaments, man. So it was a really, really, really good time, really interesting time to, like I say, test your skills out. Then from there we progressed to combat systema, Russian military fighting, and that was a real interesting concept and philosophies that I was introduced to. From a militarized standpoint, from a practicality standpoint. Kickboxing worked. I was 6'4", 275 pounds, but when I got into executive protection, I had to develop other skills. And the knife and the blade work that you would do in karate and the blade work that you would do in other systems, it didn't transition to that reality-based tactical movement. So I had to get trained for that. Mm-hmm. Got into combat systema. And now, those are really the main arts that I focus on now. We, did Kessie, training some Kali, training some Wing Chun, but the principles and the philosophies and concepts of those expressions, I implemented them, certain aspects into my system now. But the foundational points are still kickboxing and combat system.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of talk and debate right now, and this is kind of a side note question. Boxing versus martial arts or the MMA, the boxer, the kickboxer. What is your opinion on that when fighting a professional boxer versus your style?
The problem really that I see for the most part is that we've been conditioned to look at what works in a ring perspective. And ring perspectives can give us the worst concept of reality. That is a sanctioned fight. No matter how good these warriors are, these are great warriors. They're beautiful fighters. Mm-hmm. But when you take anybody out of the element of rules, anything is possible. So now it gets into the contest of, are you willing to commit certain levels of violence, or have you been conditioned to follow a certain set of rules that gives you somewhat of a negative notch or some kind of anchor that prevents you from expressing yourself truly or really recognizing what level of threat you're facing. If you look at boxers that have fought outside the ring, Mike Tyson, when he fought Mitch Green was on angel dust. Mike Tyson ended up breaking his hand. Then he started biting. Then he started kicking Mitch Green. This is the baddest man on the planet at that time, and he still didn't knock him out. He shows up to the press conference with a broken hand. Now, I say all that to say, this is an individual that spent 50, 60 hours a week training on his craft. What do you think the average person is going to have to do with that individual like a Mitch Green, who's on angel dust, 235 pounds, 6'4.5", aggressive, violent, and wanting to impose their will? What are you going to do? You're going to have to elevate the levels of violence beyond what he's capable of. So you're going to have to get in your mind, I'm going to have to take his life. You're going to have to be comfortable with that expression. And that's what my system does. we try to get you to the point where you're comfortable accepting the reality. Nobody should be bothering me in the first place. I'm not going out here to be a bully. I'm not going out here to impose my beliefs on anybody. I'm not going out here to take anything from anybody. I just want me and mine to be left alone. So if we engage, that means that you cross some sort of line to engage me. So you don't get to determine you don't get to determine my responses. I teach my women's defense classes. I don't teach them to just subdue. It doesn't make sense. I teach them to try to eliminate the threat. We have a philosophy in my school. We don't stop until you stop moving. So whatever that means, however you want to take that, that's the reality that I train my students for, and that's the reality I live by.
Yes, sir. I like how you answered that question so far as not being limited to a sanction style fight in a real situation. Obviously, if somebody picks a fight with you, you're not there just to have a little one-on-one scuffle. You're fighting for your life.
Absolutely.
It's life and death if somebody tries to fight you. And I really do understand that, because it leads to what I was going to say earlier. You can get hit in the head a certain way and just die. You know,
absolutely.
People think this fighting stuff is like the movies and you could just get hit anyway and just get back up. You can get one wrong hit to your temple or somewhere on your body, and you can literally just die or be paralyzed. So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
The question I have for you is, how important is it, once again, and you can go in more detail of a real fight and how you should defend yourself?
Well, the reality of a fight is this. The fight does not start when we both put our hands up and decide to engage. And somebody says, you ready? You ready? Okay, let's go. The fight starts when somebody else decides that you're going to be prey. That's when the fight starts. Your defense begins when your situational awareness is activated. Your countering is now kickstarted when you decide to either neutralize this threat or to separate from that environment or get away from that environment where that threat is. But no matter what, the fight does not start when we get to mutually agree to compete. The fight starts when somebody else determines that today you're going to be prey. And now I have to respond to that. I have to make sure that my response is greater than whatever it is that you're capable of doing. So I have to be limitless in my expression. I have to be just as ruthless, if not more. I have to have a desire or a drive in that moment to activate an animal instinct, a primal instinct of survival. And if I'm not capable of that, then eventually I'll lose, because I have to assume that this person, whoever wants to engage me, is capable of the worst, most disgusting, most vile things humanly possible. I have to assume this. Otherwise, why are you bothering me? Why are you bothering me? Evidently, you didn't listen to my words when I say, sir, I don't want any trouble. You didn't watch my movement when you saw me trying to exit. So clearly there was something that you were looking to do to me that was going to alter my life or alter the lives of my loved ones. So from that standpoint, we elevate the levels of violence and we eliminate the threat as best we can.
Yes, sir. You brought up the name Mike Tyson, and you actually took it out of my mouth when you said Mike Tyson out of my lips. My question for you, in a virtual world, in a situation where if you was to fight a primetime Mike Tyson right now, how would you fight him in the streets? And I'm not talking about a sanctioned fight on the boxing ring. I'm talking about in the streets. How would you take him out? What will be your strategy?
Prime Mike Tyson in the street. That's going to be simple. And when I say simple, not from a standpoint of I'm just going to beat the brakes off Mike. We're going to elevate the levels of violence, meaning that now we engage with. I'm never in a situation where I'm not armed, as far as weapons. My knives, my knife. If you go to my page, you see our knife expressions. So it's gonna be a response that requires me to activate some sort of force multiplier. It's gonna be something where I engage with some sort of tool. I don't even if it wasn't Mike Tyson in his prime, and I'm 43 years old now, I have nothing to prove. So I don't care who it is. At this stage of the game, I'm not here to see how many shots I can land and how hard my kicks are, how hard my elbows are, how hard my strikes are. I'm going to strike till I can get to a weapon, or I'm going to clear space till I can get to a weapon. Then we're going to play the game the way I want to play the game. Now, if you ask to stroke the ego side, then we'll get into an environment to where we can lock the dojo, we lock the doors, turn the cameras off, sign the waiver forms, and let's see who the baddest motherfucker is. Right. And we can call it, and then we can engage that way. That's how warriors engage. And we just want to test our skills. That's the beauty of martial arts. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I engage with a Mike Tyson or anybody outside of the comfort and the safety to where we have a certain honor level of a gym, a cage, or something of that nature, no. We have no desire to see what we can or cannot do.
Right.
It's real life combat now.
Yes,
so now we're going to play. I don't know if you're familiar with comics, but very rarely do you see Batman just when he's engaging and things are picking up. Batman's a world-class martial artist. He's got like 38 black belts, but he's got a set of tools on his belt. He's a genius. He's a high-level thinker. He's not about to fight you at your strength. He's always going to take away your greatest weapon, and he's going to utilize his tools to do so. So, no, we don't play fair.
Speaking of Batman, and I'm sorry to Batman real quick, he was able to defeat all of the DC characters. He knows how to do it, right? Is that true about him, his character, right?
Absolutely. Batman has a contingency plan. Yeah, he has a contingency plan for everything. Yeah.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah. So, but I will say this: any great leader would do so.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in a position of leadership and you believe that everybody that's with you will always follow you blindly or always be up under you, you're foolish.
Mm-hmm.
You're foolish. You have to assume the worst out of everybody. Mm-hmm. This is how you stay sharp. So now, if or when and I'm not saying it will happen, but if or when it does happen, now you're prepared. You've already created the worst case scenario in your mind. You've already built a contingency plan. You're never, as a leader, you cannot afford to be caught off guard. You cannot afford it. There's too much, there's too much at stake, especially with the state of our people. Our leaders, if we look historically, it doesn't matter through European culture, it doesn't matter through Africanized culture, indigenous culture. Great nations were taken down from the inside.
Mm.
Great nations have fallen from the inside. The beautiful, the mighty Nkosi, Shaka, that was from the inside. His own people. So the assumption that blind loyalty exists, no, we assume the worst out of everybody, but we treat everybody with the humblest and the utmost of respect. Everything is respectful until you show me otherwise. And that's how I train my students.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Going into, you speak warrior and warrior class. I also have it tatted on my arm, Bushido. Can you give me more details of what a warrior is to you and what the warrior class is to you?
A warrior is somebody who is willing to fight for something greater than himself. He's somebody who is willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for others. He is a man of service. A warrior is not just about who's got the baddest sword or who's the best with the AR, who's got the fastest knife draw, who's got the best martial arts skills. It's not even about who's got the most kills. It's about the service, the reason why. Now you can You can be a tactician, and you can be a world-class fighter, a world-class killer, whatever you are, a world-class warrior, for the sake of this argument, or sake of this discussion. But to me, the true essence of that warrior is based upon your service. Is based upon the honor that you bring to it. Doesn't mean that I have to have honor for my enemy. It's the honor of my stance, the honor of my principles, and what I'm projecting. What am I fighting for? Am I willing to fight for something greater than self?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Willing to fight for something greater than yourself. What do you consider is greater than yourself? What are you willing to fight for?
Everything is about service. I did a post the other day, and I was talking about being a champion at one point in time. That, you know, that is one of the things that I used to hold on my, I wish I could have, you know, had that opportunity to become a world champion, being 6'4", 200 plus pounds, moving the way I do, and speed, power, the information, the knowledge, and the body just not holding up to get you to that point. Had nothing to do with will, nothing to do with desire, drive. It just had to do with the physical body. And that championship, I guess that championship spirit and everything that I wanted at that time, I realized that there was something that took me off of that road. And when it got me off that road, it forced me into another lane, a lane that was not about my ego, where I get to raise my hand to become a champion, where people get to look at me and say, yo, he's the baddest man on the planet. No, now it's about me making sure these young boys and these young girls develop skills. They develop a sense of honor. They develop a sense of structure. They're able to protect themselves. They're building, and they're around other men and women who are building, and they're able to see what a community looks like, where they find stability in this program. That is where my service, and that is where that warriorhood and that energy goes back into. The self and the I wanted to become a champion. I have the greatest reward now watching somebody else win and getting them to the point where they don't have to depend on somebody to be their savior. And this is the thinking that I want to destroy in our community. We're looking for somebody to save us. We are our own greatest saviors. We're looking for the sky to erupt and somebody to send somebody back. It's been 2,000 plus years. We have everything at our fingertips in order to be able to liberate ourselves financially, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. But we have a desire to be controlled. We have a desire to be led. We have a desire to be ruled. And this is the weakness that my lane I'm trying to break. It doesn't matter to me where you go pray. You can believe in Jesus. You can believe in Allah. You can believe in Yah. You can believe in Buddha. Whatever your belief system is, that's your personal business. This is not me here trying to sway somebody to, hey, be an Israelite today, or go tomorrow, be a Muslim. This is about me asking you to serve based upon your ability to follow something greater than yourself. Because every aspect of energy that I just articulated requires a certain level of sacrifice. It requires a universal love energy or a love principle that we're able to emit or omit or express, that allows us to become that universal energy or that light unto other nations. This is the energy that I'm trying to activate in the people. But you have to go down that lane. You have to walk where it's dark. You have to walk into the places where the monsters are to truly be able to ignite that evolution. This is the spark where I want to bring that to the forefront, to change the thinking, to change the aspect of fear. Fear is the most crippling energy that we face right now, because fear does not require you to face something to change. Fear allows you to go hide somewhere and rely on somebody else to be the savior for you. If I tell you right now that you're trapped in a burning building, it's on the 4 stories, and you're trapped all the way at the top, and I say you only have 2 options, you can jump or you can run down the steps. Most people will say, well, what's the next option? I say, no, I just gave you 2. Jump from the 4th story or run through the burning house. One of these options, either you're going to burn up or you're going to break a lot of bones in your body in order to survive. There is no Superman coming. There is no rainbow with a magical stairway to get you out of there. Pain is the only way for you to get out, and you have to decide which route you're going to go that's going to require the least amount of pain. And you're going to have to make that decision to save your life. This is where the fear is activated in. When you look at other cultures and other individuals, they don't fear death because spiritually they have accepted a reality that they're willing to go get. They believe in dying for something greater than themselves. They believe in making the extra sacrifice. We've been conditioned to get away from that because spiritually we've been crippled. They've taken that away from us, and they've only forced us to use the logical side of our mind. And that logical side of our mind can articulate every reason why this should not be able to happen. But the greatest aspect of us was our spiritual connection, our oneness, our ability to connect with things that were not seen by the 2 eyes in our skull. There's a power that we have to activate. This is why when Negroes, American Negroes, get pulled over by police and you know that this cop is wrong, we won't make the extra decision. What is that case that took place where the woman and the man got pulled over and the cop fingers the wife? They made a movie about this. He sexually assaulted the wife. And the man sat there. And because this individual had a badge on, you allow him to control your reality. Because only 2 options will be made from there. And both of them end with when you die. Only difference is, do I kill you now and die later? Or do we die in this exchange? But there has to be an exchange of life for you crossing that line and you violating. We don't want to make those hard choices. And this is not me out here saying, please go put yourself in those situations. No. And I'm not asking that for anybody. We all just want to be left alone. But that reality, we have to accept it in order for us to truly be free. But yeah.
Yes, sir. So, as you say, I would say people need to be conditioned. A lot of people was already conditioned this way culturally and spiritually. What would you think would be the fundamental, the foundation that people should start with before they get involved into this type of activity and way of thinking of a warrior? Where do you think people should start at to find themselves?
That's kind of an open question. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. You can bring some people into a gym environment and they start training a system and they just fall in love with it. And it activates something dormant within them. You can put people in a militarized training program and that activates. So when I say militarized, guys who are more tactical based training, and that activates something. It may just be something as simple as men hanging around men and testosterone igniting and conversations and words driving men to be better. The situation will be different for everybody, but you have to put yourself in an environment of warriorhood. That's the first thing. You have to put yourself in an environment that will hold you accountable. You have to put yourself in an environment where your emotions do not get to dictate the reality, where men will break your emotions. You have to put yourself. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you wasn't done. Go ahead.
No, I was basically done. It's just the aspect of we have to put ourselves, or whoever wants to evolve to this point or get started in this point, you have to put yourself in that environment. If I want to learn financial literacy, I don't need to be hanging around dudes who are smoking weed all day. I need to be around some men who are bankers, investors. I need to be around business. I need to be around folk who are moving and grooving in that circle. If I want to understand agriculture, I need to be around agriculturalists. If I want to understand carpentry, I need to be around carpenters. I can't be outside of that reality and expect to embrace that reality. Truthfully, I got to put myself where pain is at. I got to put myself where I got to look at another man in his eye and where that man has a desire to impose his will on me. I have to put myself in those environments. Doesn't mean you're going to walk out the baddest. Doesn't mean you're not going to get your ass kicked. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel pain. You just have to put yourself in that environment to activate that energy. If you ask most men right now, when's the last time you actually trained? Most men live right now. Most men live off of the person they were in high school. Most men live off the person that they were in their early 20s. If you ask most men who are 35 and up, they're not the same, not because mentally, just physically, they've allowed themselves to completely go. And they're living off that past glory. They haven't evolved. They haven't stayed sharp. You know why? Because they believe that they're either living off that past glory and nobody's going to do anything, or all I got to do is get to my gun and that's all I got to do. No. You have to evolve. It's not that easy to elevate and activate that energy. It's not. Most men don't realize how long 30 seconds is. To tussle and lock up with a motivated human being for 30 seconds.
It's a long time.
That's a long time. Now imagine he has friends. Imagine his motive is to take your daughter and to do things to your daughter. Imagine that's his motive and he's souped up on dope. But you can't last 30 seconds and you think that your adrenaline is going to get you through it because of what you used to be. Some men have run from that energy all their lives, and they believe that 911 is going to save them. 911 has already told you they're not here to save you. They won't make it in time. It'll take 911 10 minutes to get to you, 9 minutes to get to you, 5 minutes to get to you. It can be 4 minutes to get to you. All somebody needs is 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Nobody's coming to save you. You are your first line of defense. And most men don't understand this. We only live off the ego side of it. I wish somebody would. Okay, now he did. What are you going to do about it? We talked about Mike Tyson. What is the average man right now sees Mike Tyson at 60 years old and he breaks. Just because of what Mike used to be. He's terrified of Mike right now. Mike Tyson walks in a barbershop right now. Everybody's going to act like they just saw a wild pit bull come through and then it's going to be, hey, look, Mike, a Bengal tiger just walked in the barbershop. Everybody's going to be sitting back like, Lord, please. Mike's going to say, hey, I want to get that chair over there. Let me get the one in the middle. I'm ready to go. Mike's going to skip over folk. Nobody's going to, hey, Mike, I was next. Nah, man, that's Mike Tyson. Let Mike go. This is the energy that we give off, all because of, and folk will say it's respect. It's not respect. It's fear. Dudes will allow Mike Tyson to do and say things to them that they would never allow somebody else to say. You know why? Because they've seen Mike destroy people. And they're afraid. And the only reason why they have that fear is because they don't live in those environments. To where you have to face those kind of fears daily. And not only do you have to face those kind of fears, you have to deal with them and figure out ways to learn to impose your will upon them. It's an energy thing, bro.
It leads to the question, what is the importance of manhood as we go into this topic in 2024 in this modern time, the importance of manhood?
Manhood is based upon going back to this old thing of service, of one's ability to serve something greater than self, standing within his masculine realm and understanding the duties that are required of him to elevate those he swore to protect. Constantly challenging himself, even if it's on a solo mission, to evolve. Making sure that he does not become antiquated. Manhood is taking on the challenges that are required for him to be successful, for his family to be okay, for him to lay down a foundation that will last for generations. Manhood is not just about the now. It's about the future. Who have I passed knowledge on to? Who have I been able to implement or imply wisdom upon? Manhood is a constant realm of service. Because all of the information that I've taken in, all of the good and the bad that has made me the man that I am, I have to be able to share that with somebody else. Give them the gifts, give them the tools, give them the keys that I didn't necessarily have or were given to me later. Give them to them early. The bruises that I acquired, the whips, the lashes, the bumps, the broken bones. Use the reasons why I developed those scars and that pain, and give somebody else the keys to the test. Manhood is greater than just me being in a gym somewhere, or a man being able to push 500 pounds, or standing on just the simplicity of his masculinity. But being able to channel that masculinity and make sure that the projection of that masculinity is uplifting and not destructive. Having the ability in manhood, true manhood, is being okay with the understanding of the spiritual feminine that rests inside of his husk. This is not the essence of him being a woman, but the femininity, because this is the spiritual side. So if we get into the hemispheres of the brain, we're talking left and right hemisphere of the brain. So when we get into the masculine and the feminine side, real manhood is able to operate and make one the duality. This is why the great prophets that you may see in the scriptures, they all exemplified masculinity and femininity. Being able to use logic and develop a skill set, also to have a connection with a higher power, and truly understanding the ability to manifest the reality within self just off the simplicity of spoken word. This is the aspect of manhood that we should be striving for. Even the great leaders of the past, they operated in duality. The true leaders that we look to, there is a projection that a man must be able to understand and to omit. There's a loyalty that comes with it. And it goes back to service. There is a desire to conquer that goes with it. We don't sit by idly. We do have a conquer nature. Absolutely. We're warriors. That is part of being a man, to conquer. Somebody told us a long time ago that we are products of slaves. But we changed that narrative because we understand as prisoners of war, we lost. So because I lost, that was the outcome. But you made me identify as simply a slave. You took away my understanding of my history of warriorhood. You crippled me. I'm never going to be one of those to say we're not like our ancestors. I wish we were like our ancestors. I'm never going to be one of those ones that say, oh, I can't stand the ancestors or they failed and this and no. I believe we are the greatest failure right now. We live at a time when we have the most information and doing the least amount with it. There's never a time when we can sit back and downplay our ancestors. No matter what it is that they did or did not do, what we agree with or don't agree with, it's not our place. The question we should be asking ourselves is, what the hell are we doing now? This is where the men come in. Where is the activation of warriorhood now? If you as a man are sitting down and you have a circle of men and all you do all day is drink beer, eat pizza, talk about women, which girl you had, which dish you can do, living off of your past stories, that's not manhood. That's not manhood. That's weakness. I don't want to be around men to tell me what you did in the past. Who gives a damn? I don't care how bad of an MF you were 20 years ago. What are you doing now with your bad self? How are you helping unify a people now? What is your tribal structure looking like? What are you doing to liberate your people? What are you pouring into the youth? How are you helping women to evolve? How are you helping men to evolve? I challenge men all the time, but we get men coming here, and the crazy part is, dudes will swear up and down, oh, General, I can't wait to train. I can't, man. You know how many people I have that have told me, oh, I'm coming, brother. Oh, yeah, brother. Oh, man, I love what you're doing, bro. I'll be there, brother. They don't ever show up. When we were doing rescues of little girls during the pandemic and right before the pandemic, bringing babies back home, there were brothers that you would see, that you would know. They're on these lives and on these feeds talking big talk. Guess what? You know, they don't say nothing to me. They know better. Because I saw you in live time when you left us on the South Side.
That's right. They know better. They know better to say nothing to you.
They know better. And this has nothing to do with being the baddest man in the room. No, this has to do with the reality of what it is.
Accountability.
That's it. That's it. You don't commit to the people and then bail on those who are doing the work. And then get back online and talk about how much of a bad boy you are, how much of a raw dude you are. You're a coward. If I ever showed you what my inboxes look like, man, there's a lot of, but I'm not that kind of, I'm not a sucker like that. But if I ever wanted to be on sucker time and I'd show you how these dudes really are, because when I see you post some shit and then, wait a minute, I don't have to bring you out in front of everybody. I'm gonna hit the inbox up.
Right.
Yo, what's up, beloved? Yo, why did you just post that, God?
That's right.
Now, you know good and damn well that you never stepped foot in this gym, but you talking about how you gonna do X, Y, Z, and you say, oh man, me and Sar, we do it. No, me and Sar are like nothing. We're like nothing. We know each other on Facebook. No, we don't know. We're not familiar like that, not in real life. We're not building a rapport. You're utilizing this platform to show people that you're a bad motherfucker, but you're really not like that. Or, oh man, we about saving the people. How are you about saving the people? But you bailed on us when we was down on the west side and we had to go to this big 6'7", 340-pound faggot's house, and we had to check and see because he's a known sex offender. We had to go in there and see if these kids were there. But when you saw this motherfucker open the door, y'all took off.
Wow. Accountability.
See, this is the energy. This is why a lot of people, they'll stay away from me, because I'll go places that they'll say they want to go. But then when I take you on that ride, then it's, hey man, like Ice Cube and hey, let me out. Let me out. Let me out, though.
So it goes back to integrity.
Yeah.
Can we say what integrity is? The lack of, and what is real integrity in 2024?
I'll be honest. I don't think integrity exists.
Mm.
I think integrity is situational.
Mm.
I think it's situational. And the reason why I say that is because out of all the men you know, right? And I'm not talking about people that you're getting familiar with. You're trying all the men that you know. How many of them truly stand on manhood, and how many truly stand on integrity? Not saying the men that you're cool with, of the men you know.
Comrade, it's rare. It's very rare. I don't want to get into it. It will shock you what number I'm really gonna say. I'm not gonna say it on here, but
No,
it's rare.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost a lost thing in this era.
See? Now, even people that you may have a certain level of respect for, there's a lack of manhood, certain levels. Questionable, somewhat of questionable integrity. You don't really know. You don't really know. Why? Because these things haven't been tried and proven. I haven't seen you in the fire. I don't see you putting in the work. So I can't answer the question about it because we don't engage like that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and I'm not talking about you and I'm just talking about in general. You feel what I'm saying? It's like folk, we have this inflated ego and this inflated sense of self-righteousness based upon our titles. Somebody gave you the title. Or you gave yourself this title. Like, for example, you got all these generals out here, right? Everybody's a general. Everybody's a general. When I go and I do seminars, I bring 20 soldiers with me. Tactical. Everybody's dressed down. I bring a few that are in suits and the rest are tactical. And the reason why I do that when I go speak at my Hebrew community camps or my Hebrew sessions or whatever it may be, because when they introduce and they say General, Sar, Shemuel, Benjamin, and a little boy is looking, I want him to see what that reflection truly looks like. I want him to see what authority looks like, what confidence looks like, what skill looks like. I want him to see that the same way that I saw my father enter a room, the same way the great leader, the great elder, Brother Malcolm X. These are the things when I look at these things as a little boy, whether it be something that I'm watching that was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, or whether it's something now, it has to move me to be better. And the movement has to be based on a reality.
Yes.
Not a fabricated ideal. A reality that is tangible, something that somebody can see and say, yes, he is that.
Practical.
Practical. Yep.
So let me ask you this question. And it came right on time. What is a general?
That's another one. A general has the ability to lead. A general has a knowledge or a universal or a well-rounded knowledge of the situation or circumstances that he's in charge of. But a general is smart enough to employ or smart enough to bring men or counsel that is around him that is just as smart, but is skill specific. A general is an organizer. But he's smart enough to understand that as he organizes, he brings in somebody else under him to organize what he's organizing. A general is not afraid to follow. For example, if I'm putting together a team, right? Why do I want another hand? Why do I want, if I need a team of 5, why do I want somebody else who's a master of close quarter? You already got one. So if I'm bringing in a scout, I'm bringing in a sniper, I'm bringing in whatever else I'm bringing in to put this team together. Whoever's part of this mission, wherever their specialty lies, whoever's part of this mission where that specialty comes to life, then guess what? I follow. Doesn't make you any less of a leader to follow. That's what great leaders do. You put men in positions that are capable of leading. It doesn't diminish your authority. It doesn't diminish who you are. It just means that you're the smartest person in the room to bring in individuals just as smart as you or smarter in order to get the job done.
Yes, sir. As you say that, let me intervene real quick.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of so-called generals that is not trying to actually build no team up that finds them as a threat. And they think it's all about them with their title. So many people, not just a general, a chairman, or any type of leader, they build these groups only around them. So it's around them, but when it comes down to the initiatives and the missions that need to be done, they're not progressive at all. They're in stagnation because they didn't build a team to get the win. What do you say about these people with titles?
I personally, I don't deal with them. I want everybody to be great. And if that title helps you to feel like you're great, then be you. But you don't want me speaking around your people. You don't want an individual like me speaking around your people, because an individual like me speaking around your people, we're gonna tell within the first 2 minutes what's true and what's not. We're gonna bring a whole nother energy, and the people are gonna be able to decide. The people are gonna be put in position to be accountable. If you as a general, right? You got generals right now, right? So watch this. You got guys with general titles, right? And you say, okay, general, what's the continue? First of all, general, how many men do you have serving under you? Huh? Okay, you're the general, right? How many men do you have serving under you? Okay, let's skip that, general. Let's skip that, general. General, what fighting style are you training your men under, general? No, general. What have you mastered to train your men under, general? No? Okay, skip that too. Okay, general, can I ask you, what is the contingency plan in case your people have to leave? Where do you take your people? What alliances have you made, general, with other communities, other groups, other nations? What have you done, general, to secure the safety of your people? Nothing? Okay. All right. So now, what the hell are you the general of? What are you the general of?
What are you the general of?
Pens and pencils, office organization, the general of shoes and flip-flops. Help me understand what it is that you are the general of, because clearly it's not the general of people or the organizer of militarized men. That's not your strong suit. You must remove that title. But hey, if they believe it and they want you to be that, then y'all carry on. Y'all carry on. But you can't walk around with that title over here and think that, okay, I just got a title of general and that's it. No. No. First of all, there's a requirement for everybody on this side to train. It is mandatory. Not just for the men, but the women. Even my daughters train. My wife trains. The women in our community train. You have to train. We're a warrior camp. Let no mistake be made. Before anything else, we are warriors first. The hell with agriculture, the hell with carpentry, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but what I'm saying to you is we focus on warriorhood first. Because there's not going to be anything that we're not, as far as, if God forbid everything goes to shit tomorrow, we're going to survive. My wife is not going to look at me and say, how, when, what. All of our spots are compromised. Everything goes to shit. We can't get here. We can't get there. What do? We survive. And I won't go into too much detail, but you understand, we will survive.
Well, this leads to the next question. What is the importance of a contingency plan in this era, at this time?
You have to have it, because you have to assume that everything is going to go to shit, and that your first plan, your first thought is not going to work. You have to assume that. That contingency plan is going to help you navigate through the chaos. You have to have alliances. You cannot do this alone. A lot of times people don't want to develop alliances because they're afraid of losing the people that they have around them, because they have to be seen as a leader. So they're afraid of losing their flock. And I think that's weakness. That's selfish. That means, once again, my ego comes before the safety of the people. Who gives a damn who gets the credit? Did the job get done?
Egoism.
And it runs rampant, bro. It's one of those things that it almost seems like it's out of control in our communities right now. And okay, look at it like this. I'm a Hebrew, right? I'm not a tradition. I'm not like every other Hebrew, but I'm, for the lack of a better term, I am a Hebrew Israelite. Okay. Whatever your background is, your background. We got brothers who are Muslims. We got brothers who are Christians. Got brothers who are Buddhists. I even have some connections that are European. I have some connections that are Asian. There's no ego involved when it comes to my ability to get information, when it comes to my ability to be able to get my folk the necessities that they need to survive. I have to make these alliances. I have to make these deals. I have to build these relationships. That ego is not going to hold me back because I don't like the fact that you believe in Jesus and I don't. Who cares? When the enemy rolls up, he's not about to ask, well, do you believe in Jesus? Do you not? Do you this? Do you that? No. Do you have on fringes? Are you a Muslim? Are you a Hebrew? Nobody's asking that. We all look the same. So we're all going to be lotted in together. The greatest thing that we can do is unify and create alliances. That is the greatest thing that we can do as far as building a collective. These contingency plans should not be isolated, or we shouldn't say me, I. No, you need to build alliances. You have to have allies. This world, if everything goes to hell tomorrow and there's all chaos, if it's just 3 of y'all, how long are you going to survive? You're going to need help. So why not start out with a group that's already prepared? Why not make deals now and alliances now with groups that are already like-minded and prepared? But I challenge folk. I say, look, don't go out here and just make deals because he's a bad motherfucker. He may have no morals. And the only thing keeping him from acting on his immoral thoughts is this illusion of safety or illusion of security or this law. You take all that away, now you got a trained individual with a desire to be perverted or a desire to do immoral acts. No. This is where your generals come in. They should be vetting people, building righteous alliances. If any man is married, any man has daughters, you want to build an alliance with a group of all single men, just who may be, may not believe in anything greater than themselves. They may be lovers of themselves. They may be drug addicts, whatever the case may be. Is this the alliance that you want to have? You see? But some men will make these kind of deals not understanding what they may be sacrificing, what they may be giving up. They don't think about 5 or 6 steps down the road. It just satisfies the immediate now. Or they're so poorly planned, or they so poorly planned that they're forced to take whatever options are available, exposing their family and exposing their loved ones to possible chaos. So
I would like to say, you brought up some very good points about alliances and morals and values and how everybody is not with us. Everybody is not for everybody due to their morals and principles. Could you put more in detail the importance of having good morals and principles during a time of forging alliances?
Absolutely. So, as a married man, and I'll say this, what would happen during times of old, and they even happen to this day, they even go on now, when people raid villages or they conquer communities, they win wars or win battles, the women are abused, sexually assaulted. The daughters are abused, sexually assaulted, sold off to old men, wives put into slavery, the men killed off. These are the things that take place in chaos. As a father, as a husband first and as a father, but as a servant of the supreme intellect of this universe, there are certain things that even in the face of the most violent situations, it's not going to activate certain energies within me to become a rapist, to become a pedophile. There's nothing in me to be activated to make those things come to life. There has to be certain boundaries, even in the chaos, that men stand on, or certain boundaries that men will not cross. This is where your morality comes in, because when you remove all sense of accountability, or you remove punishment or immediate punishment, men will express themselves, especially if they have the power to do so, in the most honest ways. And if there's nobody to have checks and balances to say, okay, she's too young. No, brother, you cannot force yourself on this woman. If there's no checks and balances, and no immediate checks and balances, men must have a morality that'll make the heavens smile. Because you have to have something that says, no, that's wrong. I can't do that. And this is why, if you don't have this in place, or you're not aware of men who may lack this morality, you may be, putting your family or your loved ones in some potential danger. If you got men in your group now that you may say, damn, when this dude get drunk, he gets touchy-feely with everybody's girl. Why would you want him around in times of chaos? If little things I challenge my brothers to do. I say, yo, if your lady walks into the room, watch the men's eyes who are supposedly your friends. If your woman walks past or leaves, watch the men's eyes who are supposedly your brother. If another brother's woman walks in and they know this brother, that's his woman, watch their eyes. If your daughters walk in or they see your daughter, watch men's eyes. Listen to the things they say. For example, if a man says, man, well, when she gets older, boy, she gonna be fine. What? So how does she look now, Nick? How does she look now? Talk to me. You see, these are things that I X out now. So in times of chaos, there's nobody around me that's not solid. We don't have these issues to where men are gawking at other men's wives. I allow my daughters, I'm very protected, but the men that my daughters can, like for example, my daughters will go shoot. One of my brothers will take my daughters to go shoot. And I'll allow my little girls to go shoot with this brother. Why? Because he's a warrior. He's one of the #1 gun instructors in the country, tactical organizers in the country. Amazing brother. Fred Thrasher. But I'll allow my daughters to go with him because I know that there's an integrity and a morality that he stands on, a service to something greater than himself that he's accountable for. Plus, he has daughters. I trust that energy because of the kind of man that he is when nobody else is around. And there's nobody for him to front for, nobody for him to show out for. The kind of a man that he is when nobody else is around to say that's wrong or that's right. He stands on something high. And these are the kind of men that you want because these are the kind of men that are going to hold you in your place of honor, no matter if you're in this realm or the next. Look how many times brothers lose their lives and all the so-called friends jump to the girlfriend or jump to the wife. It's not love. You should be wanting to protect these women. You should be wanting to protect these young girls. But no, you want to jump into this man's in his bed now because he's not there. So now you've always had an affection for this woman. These are men of low morals. These are men of low integrity. There's no honor in that. You gotta watch how these brothers move now while chaos hasn't completely erupted. Why do you want a dude around you that's always high? And I'm not saying I'm angry at people for, if they smoke their weed or if they like their little edibles, whatever your little fix is, if that's your personal business. That's not what I'm saying. But if somebody who's constantly high or somebody who is constantly or who's heavy on that booger sugar or who's on that meth or angel dust, these aren't people that you can trust in your circle. Any kind of addict, drug addict, alcoholic, sex addict, you can't trust these people in chaos. So
I would like to just add on a side note that I myself as well have been monitoring and filtering out people with these characteristics. Little do they know, I watch and I observe everything when it comes to, their humanity towards people, their mannerism and everything to that nature. One thing about the movement and these movements, and I have to bring up morals and principles again. I see a few who sides with people and forges alliance and keep a partnership with people who has did diabolical things to people, so far as rape, pedophilia, a lot of bad things to the people, but yet they still have some sort of partnership and alliance with them. What do you say about people who do stuff like that and their moral character?
I say that's questionable as well. you have to look at people based upon, to a degree, the companies that they keep. Definitely. And I think that goes back to what we just, kind of touched on. But what I've also noticed is, if I get a story about somebody, right? And I can say this. I've been in a situation where I've heard stories about folk, and this person's this person's that. And come to find out, none of that's true. I'm very careful about how I perceive certain things without having complete detail of the information, or of really what the truth is. Because one of the worst things we can do to our people and our leaders is accuse them. And I'm not saying if they're wrong, they're wrong. Please don't get it twisted what I'm saying. But accusations of pedophilia and accusations of rape, it's literally destructive. The reason why is because those who accuse, or if there's an accusation, the information at that time is the loudest. But if it comes to find out that it was never that, the vindication is always silent. So I'm always careful about potential sightings or whatever the case may be off of speculation. Now, if there are people that are siding with folk that are proven to be these things, then yeah, absolutely. It kind of side-eye the whole situation, because I don't know why would you be on alliance with him or her.
Right.
Now, here's a flip to it. This nation is the greatest villain in the history of this world. Greatest villain. And she stands on a sense of false morality and lies, deception, theft, rape, murder. She's vile. She's disgusting. But she makes alliances all across the board. And there are nations that make alliances with her that are almost backed into a corner to make alliance with her, or they make an alliance with her because they're dealing with another threat. So I say that to say this. I'm very cautious and conscious about the alliances that we make. And I'm very cautious and conscious about who I'm around that makes specific alliances. But on the flip of it, I'll never hinder anybody, or I'll never be the one to be like, don't do that to survive. I may not deal with you in your survival mode, if that makes sense. I may not deal with you in your survival mode. But I've been around this thing too long, and I've been around too long, and I've seen too much to where I've seen guys that make deals with the devil for the right reasons. And that sounds weird as hell. But they bring on the worst of the worst for the right damn reason. Imagine you going into a situation to where you gotta bring home 3 or 4 individuals, and they send you in with no flag on the shoulder, and the guys that they put on your team are the worst of the worst in combat. Meaning not skill set, the integrity on the battlefield. But they send these monsters, these werewolves out because they got to go deal with other werewolves. Do you tell them don't use them to bring your people back?
Mm-hmm.
If it's your family that is taken, and you have to, and they got a group of berserkers, a group of wild savages, and you need these individuals because your men don't have what it takes to get it done. Do you go get your wife and your children back?
Right.
Do you make a deal with these devils? They drink blood, they worship Satan, they do all, but they say, hey, look, we're for hire. We'll go with you and get your family back. We're for hire. Do you make a deal? And you don't have to answer me now. It's just the fact of when we start to put these kind of things in a perspective, it makes us question things differently. It makes us look at things a little different. Now, I'm not saying some of us will sit back and say, hell, I don't give a damn who it is. I'll let them die before I make that deal. So I just challenge anybody who listens just to think about it from a complete spectrum. But hey, that's my 2 cents.
Going back to a question, and we're not gonna I'll just have a few more questions before we end out. We've been here for a good amount of time dialoguing, and we can keep on going with this. But we'll save some for the next one, the next checkup that we do on you. But going into this next question that you already talked about, the united front and alliances, the importance of a united front and alliances and networking and doing these type of activities. A lot of people doesn't understand it. I'm gonna bring up this call, for example, in these interviews I'm doing, is not only just to see what you're doing and everything to that nature, but it is to build a rapport. It is to meet in real life and organize with the like minds and actually bring this into a practical reality in the future. Forging these type of alliances, fostering this type of behavior through doing this initiative. The importance of this, people need to understand. They can't do this by themselves, like you said. The people who just build these organizations around themselves, it's not sustainable in the long run, like you said. Can you tell us the importance, once again, of actually building these alliances, getting off the internet, and actually getting with one another in real life and organizing?
We got to get out of our comfort zone. We got to get out of that zone where we're comfortable and feel safe. We got to go out and meet people. We got to go out and look. We got to look bosses in the eye. We got to look at fellow kings in the eye. We got to look at warriors in the eye. A lot of times we've gotten so comfortable in our own little world that we've lost touch of reality. So even if we wanted to make alliances, we wouldn't know how to. And then if we push further, many don't have a skill set to make alliances. What do you bring to the table? Alliance for what? If you don't have a skill or you don't have anything that can help us move further along, then what the hell are you here for? Why are we making alliances for? What are you bringing to the table? Because in truth, any true leader will tell you, and I say these things all the time, any true leader will tell you, they've already put people in categories. They know who's expendable and who's not. If you think for a second that you have a group that, hey, look, man, I got a bunch of women. Hey, man, I need a place, man. Hey, man, let's build this and third, blah, 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 blah. I got women, man. I got women. If everything goes to care, you think we give a damn about you and your women? That's not going to get you sanctuary. A group of oh man, women will project this. Oh, well, if everything goes wrong, all I got to do is find a dude and I can sleep with these guys. Nobody cares, honey. They don't care. And the real ones that care, guess what? They're not going to ask you for it. They're going to take it. That's not going to save you in chaos. Skills is what's going to save you. Okay, boom. I'm a midwife. I have a degree in herbs. I'm an herbalist. I'm a builder. I'm an agriculturalist. These are the things that are going to save you in the time of chaos. I am a warrior. Oh, I may not be all that, but I got 10 years worth of food storage. Oh, bet. Word. You see, these are the things that are going to keep you around and make sure that you have value. In times of chaos, you have to have value. So that question of what are you bringing to the table, it matters. And in real times of chaos, who do you think they're going to want to keep around? The people that can fight or the people they got to fight for? And I'm not talking about how men may view things from an honorable state. I'm talking about people from a general state. Just from a general thought process. You'd be lucky to find a group that's honorable in times of chaos, that still believes in the unification of one and believes that every member is valuable. This is a time, and this is a crazy, crazy time, because everybody would rather, like I said, everybody would rather sit behind the keyboard and build keyboard relationships, and nobody really wants to be seen in person. You know why? Because everybody's 6'5" on the internet. Everybody's a 350-pound killer on the internet. But when you open that car door and you look this man in the eye for the first time and he says, damn, you look shorter. You shorter in person than you are online. He's sizing you up. Most men aren't comfortable with that size up, because that size up smells differently when you're not really built like that. A man can tell. A man knows what a warrior looks like. A man knows what that energy feels like. But you spent the last 5 years talking killer shit online. We need to do this. We need to be organized to do this. We need to get together and do this. All my people doing this. None of your people doing shit. You don't even have a people. These are going to be the first ones calling for help, asking for somebody they can be around. Man, we about building with men and women who are skilled. Skilled. And if you don't have skills, be ready to work. Be ready to be taught. Be ready to be educated. These are the individuals that we want around. These are the alliances that we want to build with. People with resources. People that we can exchange our resources with. People that we can barter with in times of chaos. Because, as I said on one of your other conference calls, when chaos starts, I'm not building alliances then. Everybody's an enemy to me. Stay away. Stay away. We're not going to get familiar under these kind of circumstances. We had all this time to get. We're not about to, we aren't about to start trying to build a relationship under this kind of circumstance. No. No.
Hey, we can't tell if it's genuine or not, huh?
No. No. We had plenty of time to do all this, beloved. Nah, we're not about to do this now. I don't know you.
Right.
Oh, brother, I've been trying, man. Yo, we've been linking up online, brother, for that. No.
Right.
No.
Right.
No. Sorry, can't help.
Not lying.
I can't help.
No lie detected.
Can't help you. So, it's one of those things, bro. Like, I just, at this stage in the game, man, like, that's why I extend myself. Look, I'm here to build. I'm here to build. I don't care who gets the credit. I don't care who's the leader of the show.
Yes, sir.
I don't give a damn who's running the show. Doesn't matter to me. As long as they're functioning, as long as they have a certain honor code, just tell me where I need to be at. And I'm there. I don't have no problem following. But I'm just not going to follow inadequate leadership. And I'm damn sure not going to follow an incompetent individual. Not doing that.
I would like to add one thing real quick, and I got one last question after this, and then we'll have a closing statement. But I actually got a comment to piggyback off what you said about meeting people in real life. Once again, I'm a truck driver, so I get to meet people in real life. Actually, I have the opportunity to do that more than everybody else does because of how I move. But I get the kind of a different type of reaction. When I actually meet people, they're like, wait a minute, you're actually here?
Yeah.
We didn't expect you to really come. You know what I'm saying? We didn't expect you to really try to organize. Like, okay, you're here, but you know, we wasn't really serious. You know what I mean? That's the kind of vibe I get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, we do live in a social media virtual world type of thing. And in the last call, I was talking to a guy from the Brown Berets, and he made a good assessment saying that probably came from COVID and everybody just being used to being online, you know?
Yeah.
So that probably played a big role in why people is really just so safe and rather just do this social media revolution and friendship only on the virtual world. But I just wanted to say that real quick. But going into my next question, could you tell me, and I know you're big on the man and the woman, during this time of chaos, during this time of contingency plans, what is her role, you would say, and what would be her place during this time?
It's simple. Her place is to fill the void and to follow. The man organizes. He will lead. He will organize. He will place those that he's sworn to lead in the proper positions. Her job is to make sure that those women who are under her, or those women that she's responsible for, everything has to fall in order. So as I blanket my wife and my children, my wife has to make sure my children are moving a certain way. Mm-hmm. She has to make sure there's certain things that they have, and if they don't, she'll pass it to me. My daughters won't yell up and say, I don't have this. No. You tell your mother. Your mother will relay the message to me. Everything has to be disciplined in those times. Everybody has to be trained to move, to be able to accept roles, accept being told what to do. It's not a democracy. It becomes a dictatorship. Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. We don't have time for feelings. We don't have time to say, oh, can you say that better? If somebody is shooting and I say, everybody get the fuck down, I don't need you in your feelings. Say, well, you could have said that nicer. Mm-hmm. Now is not my time to figure out how to compromise what I say to make you feel better. My job is to keep you safe.
Militarism.
And that's what we demand. Like there is no equal sharing of the philosophies and the roles and this. No.
Not during the time of chaos.
No, I don't do that. I don't do that in times of peace. Now, look, I'm the head of my home. There is no, we don't share that responsibility. Now, my wife runs the home. Right. You see, my wife runs the home. She organizes that motherfucker. She keeps it how it needs to be. If she look, the meals and everything. Look, my wife runs the home. But I am the head of the home. You see? It's almost like being the president. It's almost like being the owner of the team versus the head coach. I let her deal directly with the players.
Let me intervene.
Directly with the players.
Let me intervene. What is the importance of a man, a MAN, being a head of house in a family setting?
It's important because it allows for structure to be implemented. The mother, the woman, she is the first teacher of the child, not the father, the mother. The mother is the one that would historically tell the stories and the history of the family. The mother tells the children how to conduct oneself. The mother gives them that foundation. She helps that foundation. So in the beginning, it's more so 80% mom, 90% mom, 10% dad. Dad is providing the environment for mom to be able to nurture and teach. But as that child gets older, that man's role now begins to increase and the mother's role begins to diminish, not taking away who she is, but it's transference of that energy or power structure. And now you're going directly to the source because daddy has to teach you how to survive. So the man's role is to be able to instill structure so that chaos does not ensue. The children have to be able to understand what authority is. Not to say that mom does not require or demand that respect, but there is a respect that comes from a man that cannot be equaled or matched by that of a woman. And this is not diminishing her. This is understanding what the roles are and understanding what that true expression is. I can bring two fighters into a room right now. I can bring Clarissa Shields, and let's go back to Iron Mike Tyson. There is a respect that Mike Tyson is going to bring that Clarissa Shields, no matter how loud she is, no matter how much she tells you she has 3 divisions of your undisputed championship, there's nothing she can do to match what Mike Tyson is. There is a presentation when it comes to masculinity and manhood that has to be instilled. And that has to be laid out. That foundation has to be laid out in the home. But you also have to see men in the home being gentle. Now, this foundation does not come from you brutalizing your way to the top. No. Always yelling in your home. No. A man should be easy in his home. A man should, like, for example, I can tell you now, like my daughters, I don't have to yell at them. I look at them. And if I do ever raise my voice, it's a shocking thing, or it's one of those things where it forces things to snap into place. They hear me yell on the mat. They'll hear me raise my voice on the mat. So it's nothing that'll break them. But if I direct that energy to them to let them know of my disappointment or my displeasure, that's a crushing blow because it comes from a place of high regard, high authority. Father demands this of me. My daughters will tell my mother to say, well, my mom said, why are you doing extra? Your daddy didn't ask you to do that. No, but I know he demands more of me. This is my daughters will tell you. He demands more of me. It's not that I'm putting that pressure on you. I'm just letting you know that I know how great you are. So why sell yourself short? That kind of organization, that kind of confidence, that kind of energy is what men bring to the table. My daughters get to see me go out and work and provide. My daughters got to see me start my martial arts program where we were teaching outside in parking lots, where we started the bus system in a kitchen. And I was teaching on camera out of the kitchen, move the tables around. My daughters got to see me renting spots from people. My daughters got to see me going out bodyguarding celebrities and building my security business. They got to see me utilize the money from my security business to finally open up my fight business. They walked into the building when I unlocked the door and got the key. They see that they see their father conquer. And this sets a tone for my children. And this sets a tone for all, because I saw my daddy move as a man. It gave me everything I needed to see that energy, to feel that energy. But there was nothing like a hug from my father. The strongest man I knew with the most gentlest hug. There's something about a man's presence that changes the narrative. When it was my mom and I in the house, man, hey, I love my mother, but it wasn't as organized. Okay, now don't get me wrong, mama can get some stuff done, but when my daddy would come home, it just felt like all of the barriers came up. All of the guns got loaded by the windows, like nothing could hurt you. That's that sense of security. But hey, I can go all day about this, man. I can go on all day about this, man.
Yes, sir. I would like to ask one final little question, and then we're going to get into your closing statement, because we've been here for a while and with very great dialogue. Most definitely, once again, need to have you here again. But
No doubt.
there's going to be women. You broke it down very elegantly, precise, and it should be understood what manhood is and the importance of being head of the house and the role a woman plays. But there is going to be some woman who looks at this and be like, you're controlling. What do you say to a woman or a person like that in this situation?
Do it yourself. Do it yourself. It's just that simple. Do it yourself. Matter of fact, build your own group and go organize. Just we don't have any time for compromising. Oh my God, this is controlling. Oh my God, this is doing. Man, please, we don't got time for that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't got time for that. When I'm bodyguarding, I listen to my client, right? My client wants to do this, wants to do that. Now, if we're going to a spot that I think is this, guess what? My job is to tell you, hey, look, I don't think this is this, or this is what the environment is, this is what the temperature is like over here, whatever the case may be. But the time shit goes left, you as the client are not in charge. You're not in charge. I am in charge. I don't care what you feel. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you want to do. No, this is how we're going to do it, because my job is to keep you safe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like that, you can fire me after I get you to safety.
Like you said, my job is to keep you safe, to protect you.
Yeah, that's right. So that being said, if that's the energy that's being displayed, okay, fine. I would never hold anybody hostage. If it's too controlling, then go somewhere else and be free. Best of luck to you. And I know that's not a sweet nothing answer, but we're talking about times of chaos. Nobody has time to ask you how you feel. You feel okay? Everything okay? How's this? You all right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk to my kids' class like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm insensitive. It's not that I don't care. It's not that I won't ask those questions at certain times.
We talk reality.
Under that particular moment when stress levels are the highest and things are the most chaotic, we're locked in. We're locked in. I don't have time to compromise with your feelings. If I ask you, are you okay? Or I make a joke during those high chaotic times, that's to keep you loose, keep you calm. But I'm not going to ask you, hey, let's share this. Am I saying this okay for you? I don't want to say it too rough to hurt your feeling. No.
I don't mean to laugh about it. I only laugh because I know how serious it is.
No,
That's the only reason why I'm laughing.
No, I'm with
some people really think this is a fantasy world. This is just something off some type of movie or something, but it can really get real like this. Bro, and, people need to understand the situation.
You would be, man, I say you'd be surprised. You wouldn't be. But, bro, you know how many folk really will tell you in these times, like, no, ain't nobody going to talk to me like that. I don't care how chaotic it is. You ain't going to talk to me like, okay, all right. I've heard this one. Any man step to me, man, I'm gonna do XYZ to him. I'm gonna do that. No, you're not gonna do that. No, You're not gonna do that. I promise you're not going to do that. Because what do you think he's going to do when there's nobody there to hold checks and balances and you become his obstacle? Who do you think he's going to activate into? Do you think that turn the other cheek shit is going to play then? Do you think it, oh, she's a woman? No, you're a threat. Most of these individuals have never been around a man who's motivated to commit great levels of violence. When that switch has been ignited or that switch has been flipped, and please, nothing you say, no amount of I'm a woman and I got the right to, that shit doesn't matter. Your rights don't matter when somebody else assumes or believes that you're prey. It doesn't matter. It only matters if somebody agrees for it to matter. That's like we get into a fight and, you know, two guys are fighting and one dude pulls a gun. And it was, oh my God, he's a pussy. Why? Why? Oh, we're supposed to assume that we're having an honorable fight.
Right. Like the movies.
We're supposed to assume because everybody got into a boxing stance that this is going to be a street version of Mayweather Pacquiao. No.
Right.
No.
Or like the Warriors. But even the Warriors got some chains and little bombs and
sticks
stuff.
And all those stuff. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, this is that fantasy world we think we live in.
Right.
We believe that we are entitled to shit. We aren't entitled to anything. It's like if you talk to our people now, right, bro? Watch this. They believe that they're entitled to freedom, entitled to liberation, entitled to this, entitled to that. Do you know how you get that shit? You go get it. You got to go get it.
Search your right to self-determination.
Come on, man. Our people believe that we are entitled to things. No, you're entitled to nothing. You go get it. You go and you get it.
General, the oppressor loves when people feel entitled. That's what they really love. When people feel like that, that's when it hits you with all the reforms and really F you over when you feel entitled.
Yep. Because you feel like somebody owes you something. Nobody owes you anything.
You know, and I hate to bring up reparations, but you know, I just think that's something that gotta be, you know, if people was gonna go for it, they have to do a different strategy with it because they're just not gonna give it to you. You know what I mean? My opinion. You know, it'll be a whole different ball game. People have to do like at least more boycotting and other things in this other book. I don't want to say it on here, but it has to be more than just, like you said, entitlement of that money. You know what I mean? That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yep. You're 1,000% correct.
So I would like to end with the last question. And it brought me to it after this little conversation we just had. What do you consider revolution and a revolutionary?
My thought on what a revolutionary is, a revolution, is that response. I would respectfully say, I would share that in a different light.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can save it for the next if you want.
Yeah, because that's a deep one. Yeah, because no, it's not I can't answer. It's the fact of that's going to take us into a whole nother phase of the conversation. And we're going to have to extend this bad boy a little longer because I'm gonna hurt some feelings with this one, and we're gonna talk some truth with this one.
Oh, you know what I like? You know, I like when you talk truth, man. So we most definitely got to save this topic for the next one.
Yeah,
most definitely.
Yeah.
So let me ask a different question. Let me just veer off of that one, but we're gonna come back to that next time. But what would you say to people living out here? What would you say to our people? What can they do? I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue tied, but I'm trying to say this the right way. But what improvements they can make that you would like to see our people do to better liberate themselves and to be self-sufficient? What would you like to see?
I would like to see people implement what they read. Become the history that they glorify. I want to see them activate that sleeping DNA or that sleeping energy, because it's within all of us. And I want to see us take responsibility for our own progression. Stop blaming the white man. I'm not blaming the white man. I don't even use white power. There's no like white supremacy. I don't believe in that. Because if I say white supremacy, that means I'm telling you that there's somebody else who's superior to me. I don't believe that.
Yes,
I don't believe that. So we use that term, white supremacy. Man, it's white supremacy. Who gives a damn? So you don't believe in you don't believe in melanated supremacy? I'm tired of us giving everybody else power. But then when it comes to our own power, we have to pass the source off as if we're passing the buck. We don't claim our shit. And that infuriates me when it comes to us and liberation. All we want to do all day is debate about whose God is what, whose belief is what, whose religion is what it's about polygyny or not polygyny, who needs to pay 50-50 in the house. Who gives a shit? Do what works for you in your home. Who cares about the whole board? Do what works for you in your home. Guess what? If 50-50 works for you in your household, guess what? Y'all do that shit. Y'all do that. If you go to work while she's going to school, do that. If she's going to work while you going to school, do that. Whatever it takes, because we forget it is required that we all together, collectively, get out of this bondage. One is not going to help the other get out more than the next. We have to do this respectfully together, collectively. I wish we would get beyond and get past this whole gender war. We're always arguing about male and female, man and woman. Why? No other race is arguing at this level. Every time you turn on a damn social media site, you don't see the Asian women jumping out there saying, oh no, I won't submit to my man. We don't do this. You don't hear the Hispanic women saying, oh, he's not a man if he has to go to work and I have to work. The Hispanic woman will go out and she'll work 2 jobs. The husband will work 15 hours, come home to a beer and 3 quesadillas and be treated like a king. They'll get a room or get a home with 5 other families and share their resources. The Arab man will get him and 6 other families, and they'll all work in 1 gas station. Then in another year, you'll see half at one and half at another. Another 6 months, you'll see a few here, a few there, and now a few have opened up this next one. And then you realize, oh my God, they're sharing the wealth and sharing resources. They're building together. We still haven't figured it out yet. And see, you have too many weak-ass men who are claiming to be leaders, and you have too many lost-ass females claiming to be assets. It's the dumb leading the blind, the weak leading the whorish. Like it's weakness, it's corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to call it out because everybody's afraid to be an outcast. Everybody's afraid to have the whole world jump down their throat. There was a guy that was online and big at one time, Kevin Samuels, he died. And everybody hated Kevin Samuels. They hated him. Okay. And I would always say to folk, what did he say that was wrong? Or was it the fact that you didn't like what he said? Because if you grew up in an era where men were talking that talk, you've heard this before. This isn't the first time you heard this shit. This isn't the first time you heard a man talk like this. It just might have been, you might not remember it because it's been so long since you heard somebody talk like that. But if you grew up in a certain era, you heard men talk. What does he say that's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
When you don't devalue your body as a woman, and then all of a sudden claim that you want a high figure man. Men, get your fat ass in shape. You are not the prize walking around. Get in shape. Be desirable. I've heard him get on both men and women. The problem is we don't like accountability. We don't like to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm fucked up.
Right.
I need to change. You know what? This problem ain't nobody else. This is my problem. I got to fix it. Only reason why liberation doesn't exist in our communities, our people, is because we haven't claimed it. That's the only reason.
That's it. That's it.
It's the only reason. We are not the minority. The illusion is we are the minority, and that they don't even reproduce the way we reproduce. We've always been the majority.
Psychological thing.
Man, it's a great look. If you don't have access to all the information and I have access to the information, I tell you, guess what? You don't have that many people. But really, you got 1,000 people over on the left side. You got 30,000 on the right side. But all you can see is really what's in front of you and behind you.
Right.
And but I got a full spectrum of everything. Oh man, you don't know, you don't got no help. You don't got nobody. I control the narrative. For so long, the great enemy has controlled the narrative. He's given you the information that he chooses for you to have, and you believe it. It's even gone so far as to take away your spiritual beliefs and to insert something that is not natural. Why do you think he did this? Why do you think the fools of today are causing more men to be effeminate? This is strategically done. If you remove the men and the ability to protect yourself, guess what? The people are easy to control.
Mm-hmm.
The women are not going to liberate. They're not going to be able to fight that war. And I know a lot of women watch The Woman King and they watch Wakanda and they watch all that. No,
right.
no,
right.
no. It does not look like that, my sister. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This doesn't look like that.
Not saying there ain't no bad ones out there that can do something.
Nope, not saying that at all. Because you got
general
some out there who are skilled.
But in reality, overall, like you said, it don't look like that.
Look, I've seen some of the best women fighters in the world roll around or spar or get in there with guys who are B level and get destroyed just because you're in there with a man. Man, look, people really don't get it until you're actually in there with somebody who's motivated and able to do this shit. Like, I don't try to discourage people. Look, man, you know how many times we get, and that's why in our combative style, I don't train women to fight at a man's strength. I train women to fight at their strength. That's why I don't teach women really how to punch. Utilize other skill sets, tools. Punching is okay, but what happens if you as a woman break your hand, you're dealing with a guy who's 6'4", 300 pounds? What do you do then? You just broke your hand. And you draw with your right hand. You see? So it's like, no, I teach you how to make sure that you utilize the best, you get to utilize your tools at the best way possible and create the least amount of damage to yourself, or don't overly expose yourself. But this is a reality that we have to condition our sisters to be able to say, okay, I don't need to be able to compete with the men. I need to understand how they move, how they think, so I can understand the weaknesses, so I can be able to take this on. Like, for example, if you don't have women that are able to walk into a community for you on your behalf and get in and sit next to the top person in there, then you failed as a leader. You are not prepared truly for that ability to cross over. You have to have women who are able to put on a dress, put on heels, make themselves the most beautiful person in the world, and get close to the top echelon of individual if you need information while you're sitting out with the dinner thieves, because you can't get into that zone. How do you think chaos and separation is going to look? How do you think we've lost? Infiltration. Folk will sit back right now and be like, oh my God, whatever it is with the LGBT, okay, whatever. I don't agree with none of that. But you don't think I wouldn't hire one to get me intel? Mm-hmm. I'd be a damn fool if I didn't say, okay, I know one who could walk into this room where there's 5 other like him and get all the tea that he wants to bring back and get all the information, because they're in a position to make some kind of change. So guess what? I need to have somebody who can be inside to be able to listen, so I have an advantage. Who? Right. What leader? The greatest enemy of all time, she thinks like that. She doesn't like you, but she's got somebody in there that looks like you, bringing her all the information. How do you think they got king? How do you think they got beloved brother Malcolm? Mm-hmm. How did they get the Black Panther Party? Even to the end, when they create these stories about, and some people may know more than I do. I never believed this, that the great general Huey P. Newton was on dope or drugged out. I never believed that. Right. I never believed that. It didn't make sense. But what do? How great would it be for you as the enemy to tarnish that legacy, that history? See? You have power of media. You control the news. You control the news of who shot the great elder Malcolm. You control the news about who shot Dr. King. You control that news. Now here we are 60, 70 years later, and all this other information is coming out. 60 years. But all this other information is coming out. Where was the information then? See? Hell, we live in the information highway right now where shit is so open. During COVID, they released the files and say aliens existed. Now think about that shit. Now go back to the 80s and the 90s. If you would have said any of that, look how many people have been locked up in mental asylums. Right. For you to say, oh yes, we do have a section for aliens, and we have had contact for the last 70 years, 80 years, and this has happened, that has happened, Roswell happened, this happened, these are the files. The world is so numb to that shit now. They knew the files had been released, and the people go, oh well. What about this? What about this beef going on though? What about these two rappers beef? You see like we got so much information now to where when we look back historically, we should be better than they were, but we're not. Mm-hmm. They were ready to act with limited information. We have superior information, and we are cowards. We won't even get together to organize a community, a true community, or a college. I'm not talking about one of these HBCUs funded. I'm talking about a true indigenous institution that states the rights and who we truly are, that goes into the true complexities of the melanated man, that talks about our sciences, that talks about our mathematics, our chemistry and biology, our warriorhood. Not to train us to be better workers, because still at that, HBCUs have not developed the information to teach you how to actually be a leader and survive. They teach you how to integrate.
That's right.
Now, if that is the only tool that you have, I'm not knocking it. I came from an HBCU. But I'm so thankful for my experiences, because it is because of those experiences and those different houses that I was able to walk into, and the willingness to be able to accept truth, good or bad. We can see it for what it is. I had a good time at the HBCU. I got my degree from the HBCU, but the HBCU did not prepare me to survive in this European man's structured world. It taught me how to integrate the same damn thing that the Ivy League would have taught me. Only difference is I learned it from people who look like me. How many business owners did I see in my HBCU? How many people did I talk to that taught me financial literacy? How many courses did we take on how to interact with European cops? How many courses were we mandated to take on Africanized studies? How many courses did we take on how to restore manhood in the household? How many courses did we take to tell young boys and young girls to try to wait as long as you can, get married, build upon a foundation that will allow a child to grow up in a format that will create a structure that they can pass on to the next generation? How many classes did we have that told young men, don't make whores of our daughters? How many classes did we have for young girls say, girls, don't become whores to these men? Maintain your value. I'm sorry, beloved. I can go on about this, man.
Yes, this is very good dialogue today. You answered everything perfectly. And like I said, well, I want everybody to listen to this and get educated and understand what manhood is, understand what a contingency plan is, understand what honor in the warrior class is. This is a very good dialogue today, brother. And I
appreciate you, man.
Coming on. Let's continue on building. And I'm going to end this by saying this. Let's build to win. All power to the people.
No doubt, bro. No doubt. Appreciate you, beloved. Appreciate you, man. Much honors to you, man.
Yes, sir.